puts up a tough shot. Passes around. Goes in at the buzzer. Working it down to 2-1. A deep three. Oh!
It's population.
That's how you win a game.
It's population. We hustle every day to find picks. You can tell us if you want to get rich. It's population. We robbing Underdog and PrizePicks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Bookies setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like rats to the cheese. But I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the props till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the pros. Only with crawl, never reload. Underrated to my amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when a fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, they can't be good for my health. Some might call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks. Population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now. Let the games begin.
Unbelievable. Just happened. He did it.
It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash.
Here we are, sir. We are back. We are back live. How's it going?
What is up? Happy Friday, dude. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain. I'm actually awake for a Friday. How about you?
Trying to get there.
All right.
It's always hard when we got a massive slate. 13 games today, so it every team plays except 4 teams. So yeah. It's
Is
a lot
it
to get through.
I didn't know it was 13. I thought it was 12.
I think it's 13. Pretty sure it's 13.
Well, I see that Harrison Barnes on the screen. That makes me happy.
Yeah, man. We keep calling out unders, like the main under of the day, and it keeps coming through. So let's find it again today.
Yes. Can't wait.
Just obviously gonna be a lot of options today, but yeah, he tried to get us on some bad variants too, man. Like he had 4 offensive rebound putbacks, and he was getting free throws. Luckily, he missed one or 2 of the free throws, but yeah, it was. Those are the kind of things that like will burn unders with low lines and low usage guys. Is like the random variants where they get the things like have a low chance of happening, right? Like free throws, offensive rebound putbacks, or hitting multiple threes. But he stayed under with exactly 11. And then the live betting came through again too. I smashed this. I told Discord, get it in, man. Wemby just looks checked out right now. He looks disinterested, not active at all. And I jumped on his PRA live, and it immediately went down to 29.5 towards the end of the second quarter. So, and he still stayed under that as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a long season. We know he has the potential. Right now, it just seems like a mindset. So let's see if he bounces back soon. I expect him to, but as of right now, consider unders on him.
You think they're going to nerf his lines now? I mean, we've gone under 2 in a row. And
I mean, he hasn't cleared his PRA once this season.
Okay.
So I imagine so. All right, I got the game sheets ready. Let's get into this, man. We got 1, 2, 3.
It is 13.
3 games that start at the normal 7:10 Eastern.
Okay.
So let's just start with the Pelicans at Magic. The big news here is Zion is questionable. So we have to wait on that. Hawkins is already ruled out. Alvarado is already ruled in as probable because he's carried a questionable tag. But yeah, we should get Brandon Boston continuing starting and playing big minutes for Hawkins. It's been okay. And then BI has been doing BI things. But I think, yeah, overall, I'm just going to keep staying away from the Pelicans. They just have guys coming in and out. Not a solid rotation. Hard to predict. Very volatile. Alvarado, you can always consider unders on him. But when you do, You just gotta hope he doesn't hit threes. He went nuclear from 3 recently, just wasn't missing. So we'll have to see what his lines are. But the Magic, they've been giving up the point guards, right? So they're number 2 now in most fantasy allowed to point guard. So probably just stay away from them for considering unders here. But the Magic side, it's a little interesting because the Pelicans defense, since they're a skeleton of themselves and young guys coming in and playing like the rookie Yevez at center, they've just been getting killed inside the paint, especially if Zion is out too, one less big body inside the low block. And Gogo's looked okay, so I mean, I would say if Zion's out, you could maybe consider Gogo here for his props. I have him projected for, 28 minutes. And if he plays that, I mean, he's averaging over fantasy point per minute, which is standard for a center. I'll put him about 32 fantasy, and right now they have him at 29.5. So we got like a 2.98 little buffer there in our favor. But it's Goga. He's not the best on offense, but he can hold it down on defense. Maybe if Zion does play, he can pick up some more blocks here. But let's look at the matchup real quick. And I don't want to spend too much time on this game because it's gonna be ugly. It's a low total. So it's at 9.5 points. Right now, the Pelicans are second to last in points allowed near the rim. They're 29th. Yeah, so he's at 9.5 points for Goga. He just dropped 10 and 11. Played 30 minutes in that Pacers game. But if the Pelicans go small a little bit, I think the Magic could match that. So maybe his minutes come down. That's why I have him. Because he played 27 and 30 minutes. I kind of have him in between there, like around 28 minutes. His PR is at 18.5. And he had 20 and 22 against OKC and the Pacers. Let's look at his rebound chances. They're steady since he's been starting, right? 16 rebound chances and 18. That's what you want to see for a center. You want to see at least minimum more than 15 rebound chances for a big. So the rebound chances are there. Trace Jackson Davis had 9 rebounds against the Pelicans recently. Looney had 9 rebounds. Yeah. Maybe don't want to sweat the fantasy. He's at 2.5 block plus steals line, so they're expecting him to get at least 2 stocks here. He had 4 against the Pacers, 2 against OKC. So I would say he's good for at least 2 stocks. Yeah, I would say fantasy for anytime you have a center you're interested in. I would say you consider fantasy here. But again, got to see Zion's status. I think it's going to matter. And do the Pelicans go small a lot, and does he get run off the court? Other than that, I think everything else is pretty mid. I mean, Suggs is getting it done fantasy-wise still. I mean, he's averaging 1.21 fantasy points per minute, which would put him at, if he plays 34 minutes, it would put him at 41 fantasy. They have him at 36 flat. I think 36 flat is appropriate. But you can always consider, I would only play his fantasy for any prop for him because his scoring can be unreliable, but he does get it done with stocks. He's been getting the steals. So if we just quickly look at his matchup, it's a good matchup. Pelicans are like bottom 10 in every category that he primarily scores in, which is spot up 3-point shooting, and then in transition, Pelicans are bottom 2. But yeah, he has massive stock upside. Like, I mean, he has already this season, he has 3 games with 5, 6, and 4 stocks, and then another one with 3. So he could definitely get it done here. Let's see, are the Pelicans giving up stocks to the guard position? they're about average. So yeah, you're gonna want the stocks for Suggs fantasy for sure. His scoring, like I said, can be volatile. And Franz, yeah, I think it would depend if Zion's playing, because you'll probably see a lot of Zion matching up on him. Because Franz likes to drive to the basket a lot when he's not shooting threes, so Zion could make that tough on him. But yeah, that's about it for that game. A whopping 214 total, and that total will probably come down if Zion's rolled out. So now it's down to 212. So maybe the public is driving it down, or then maybe the bookies are thinking Zion's gonna sit. Just watch out for that news. It's been a while since the Magic have been favored. Yeah, Pelicans are a mess. Pacers at Hornets. This one's gonna be interesting. We always like these matchups. Biggest news is on the Hornets side. Miles Bridges is out, so the Hornets front court is decimated. Grant Williams was subbing in for Taj at the 5 and playing at the 5, but I think they're gonna have to start Grant at the 4 now, with Miles being out. Yeah, so it's a huge boost to Brandon Miller and LaMelo. Obviously LaMelo, with Miles being out, Miles Bridges. So let's just quickly look at on-off court. There's not much data because LaMelo was injured a lot last season, but let's just quickly look. I think that'll be important for people who are interested in Melo here, which I'm sure will be. All right, so we put LaMelo on the court. Let's put Miles Bridges on the court. Let's put Brandon Miller on the court. Let's just look at their normal lines here. So usage, with all of them on the court, LaMelo leads. This is dating back to last season, 32%. Brandon Miller 18 and Miles 17. So Brandon Miller and Miles are pretty much splitting. And then fantasy point per minute, LaMelo was 1.35, Brandon Miller 0.83. All right, now let's remember those lines and take Miles off the court. So LaMelo goes from 1.35 fantasy point per minute to 1.47. So let me update his fantasy point per minute. I'm gonna put him at 1.4. Okay. And Brandon Miller goes to 0.75. You know what? I need to take PJ Washington off the court, but I might reduce the minutes. Let's just first look at the usage.
Do we have a thought process that Brandon Miller is just better just because he has another year or another season? Just getting better in his... What is he?
I think so. He just can't stay healthy. That's his problem.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. The usage doesn't change for Brandon Miller, really. But that's because I have PJ Washington under here, and the usage stays the same for LaMelo. Let me take PJ off and see if it doesn't reduce the minutes too much.
But is this this last year's stats, or is it
It's last year and then this year combined.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Brandon Miller, just a thought. I don't know. I haven't been watching closely or anything, but
40. I think his 3-point shooting is only going to get better. He was already a good 3-point shooter. He's a traditional wing and D 3-point shooter. Yeah, the usage, man, LaMelo goes up to 40%. Limited 55 minutes court time though, but 40% from 30% usage, and then the fantasy 1.49. So yeah, LaMelo's gonna chuck a lot here. The Pacers, they bleed to primary ball handler and scorers points, right? I mean, you saw what Banchero did against them. They are second to last, or bottom 3 in pick and roll defense, which 40% of LaMelo's points come from. And they're about average on 3-point defense, which LaMelo's majority of his points come from at 52% of his points. So I would say I would say maybe just you could alt his points if they're so high. 20, maybe alt it down. What is PrizePicks? What's the alt goblin line? They don't have one. They don't even have his. Yeah, they don't. Okay, see. Yeah, they don't even have his goblin. They just have a demon and then the regular line. So maybe if you're in the books, like flip or something else, you can alt it. I feel a little bit better about that. I mean, he could definitely get 30 here, but you need him to shoot really efficient in the game to go full distance, which could be scary because, man, the Hornets are shorthanded big time, and if the Pacers are making their 3-ball, they can definitely run them off the court. I mean, the Pacers are 6.5-point favorites. I would say the fantasy lines are pretty spot on. I have LaMelo after adjusting that at 47. They have him at 45.5. I have Brandon Miller at 32. But I don't have much data to go off of for fantasy point per minute this season. They have him at 31. So I would say those are spot on. Yeah, I would just say something Melo or Miller here. Maybe the fantasy is a little bit too high, but Miller is active on defense. Let's see how he did last season against Pacers here. Well, LaMelo was out for all these games, so yeah. And then see, the thing is, Pacers are number 1 at his position on spot up 3-point shooting. So they're holding it down to the 2 guard and wing, especially the wing shooters, 3-point shooters. So maybe just LaMelo points if you're interested. I mean, yeah, he's going to get done with the PRA, but I just worry about Trey Mann eating into the RA, and I worry about like the guys he's passing to get assists here. So Pacer side's really interesting. Hornets continue to bleed rebounds. We attack them with rebounding. But Pacers don't really have a traditional big that rebounds at a high clip. Miles Turner rebounding is always weird. I never trust it. Yeah, he's coming off of 2 solid rebounding games with 10 and 11 rebounds. But if you look at the games before that, this is typical Miles Turner, right? Like, he can average anywhere from 5 to 8 rebounds. They have him at 8.5. I will say that the rebounds will be there, but there's a lot of guys on this team that can rebound. So, I mean, Halliburton's a good rebounding long guard. Siakam can pick up rebounds. I mean, they even have Siakam at 8.5. They had him at 8.5 last night, so they bumped him down to 7.5. I thought that was too high. Yeah, it's just a matter where the ball bounces and where the players are, in my opinion, between Siakam and Turner here. And if LaMelo and Miller are shooting a lot of threes, we could see the guards like Matherin and Halliburton pick up a lot of rebounds. So I wanted access to the rebounds here, but I don't know. I mean, Miles Turner, like, we always take centers versus the Hornets, but Miles Turner, like I said, he's not a traditional center big. He's a stretch big, shoots from outside a lot. So great spot for all of them. Great spot for Halliburton, but he's hard to trust. I think he should rack up the assists here in this matchup for sure. So at 8.5, I don't hate it. But the guys aren't just making their shots in some of these games. I mean, look, he had 16 potentials and 4 assists last game. I mean, that 16 potential is what we want, right? We want half of what his line is, or double of what his assist line is at. But it's good to see that his potentials are back up the last 4 games. I mean, 22, 24, 18, 16. It's just some of the games the guys aren't making their shots. That's it. I would say Siakam's RA, but it was 12.5 last night. Okay, they brought it down to 11.5. All his lines were super juiced opening. But his playmaking can be weird as well, because he only gets like 5 to 8 potentials. But for whatever reason, he has the golden hand. They always make his shots. So I think a lot of his are dump offs down low to high percentage shots, whereas Halliburton's kicking it out to wings and 3-point shooters. Matherin should have a great game, but his lines are caught up. But he should have a solid game here. He doesn't have great history against them. But I think he could see a lot of Brandon Miller, who's a pretty solid on-ball defender. They're only good defender, really. Can be Grant Williams at times can be good, depending on the matchup. But yeah, I think LaMelo probably has the easiest matchup here for scoring. McConnell is questionable. Watch out for that news. That could solidify minutes for Nembhard and Halliburton more so. Maybe even increase Nembhard's minutes. So look out for that news if you like Nembhard in a favorable matchup here. He's been dealing with injuries though. Can't stay healthy to start the season. So that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. But yeah, McConnell's been checking in for Nembhard a lot of the times. Yeah, majority of the time. So I think if McConnell's out, that should solidify Nembhard's minutes and make him go up to maybe even 34 and 35 in a competitive game. So if you don't want to trust Hallie, maybe consider, but the PRA is high at 18.5 because he was 16.5. Head-to-head against the Hornets, 33 minutes. He had 19 PRA in his last game into the season versus the Hornets. Yeah, should be high scoring, no defense in this game. But you just got to land on the right guy because I can see either one of these guys popping off. But the only one that kind of gains the edge, like I said, would be Nembhard first, and then Halliburton if TJ McConnell's out. So watch out for that news. And then obviously the front court takes a huge boost against this thin Hornets front court. So Siakam and Turner should have a pretty easy time. But their lines are pretty high. They have Siakam at all the way up at 39 fantasies. A lot of times he doesn't even get stocks, so he'd have to get it done just pure PRA. And they have Miles all the way up to 36 fantasy, but I am projected for 32. But it is a favorable matchup, so maybe you can boost it up a little bit. But I would say more like 34. Yeah, all their fantasy lines are higher than what I have projected, except Siakam. I have slightly higher. But let's just note Nembhard, maybe PRA if TJ is out, and then maybe I might alt Halliburton's assists, especially if McConnell's out. And just hope the Pacers can make their shots in this easy matchup. But let me know if you guys got anything on that. I think it's one of the highest totals, 233.5. So
Okay.
it should be.
Cool. Big Kev's here. He said, bang, he's number one. Big Two's here too. He said, LF, GGGGGG, let's go. And we have
Let's go.
AOD, our fave. Fuck the bookies in the eye hole. D-Gens unite. So we're all
Love it.
here.
Let's get it.
911 Lemonade says, what's up, prop?
What up, Lemonade? Hope you guys are having a good Friday. This is another good game. So there's two good games for overs in terms of like defenses, bad defenses, to start the slate off today. And then it's the Hawks at Pistons. 227.5 total opened at. What is it now? Same. Pistons slight favorites still, -1. Okay, so we talk about this all the time. Best way to attack Hawks are scoring guards who can shoot from the perimeter and hit their three ball, because the Hawks allow the most 3-point attempts and the most 3-point made in the entire league. Now, Cade traditionally is not seen as a high volume 3-point shooter, but he can definitely make his threes. Ivy's 3-point shooting has improved this season, so I think you can definitely consider 3-point props here. Let's see if the lines moved much. Last night they were both at 1.5. Cade, I found on Flip was at like minus 105 for 1.5 on the over. Look at that shift. Minus 165 now. Wow.
911 Lemonade says, do you like Cade's assists at 10? Do you think he can get 10? That's basically his question.
He has been looking to make a lot more than scoring lately. But his potentials they've gone up. Yeah, they've gone up at least the last 2 games. They've gone up to 16, but sometimes sits around 10 to 14. Yeah, it's a great assist spot. We always like assists versus the Hawks because they give up the 3 ball at such a high clip, and usually high 3-point converted plays result in assists because the 3-point shooter is going to receive the ball from someone. It's usually the guy bringing the ball up the court, and there's someone rolling off ball screen and catching it from the point guard, right? So that's why Atlanta has always bled assists, because they can't guard the perimeter. So I don't mind it. I mean, you could even pair it with some of the 3-point props from these other Pistons guys. Okay, so Ivy's he's at minus 120. He didn't go up. He stayed the same, but man, that's a huge shift. I even saw Kate last night. I posted in the Discord. He was at plus money for over 1.5 threes, and I didn't understand it. Like, every point guard so far this season against the Hawks has cleared that line. I'll show you the data. The Hawks are dead last in pick and roll, and they're dead last in 3-point defense. See, dead last everywhere here against point guards around behind the arc. And then if you look at last season, Cade had he went 1 of 3, only took 3, and then the game where he went nuclear, he had 43 points. He had like 65 fantasy. He went 3 of 5 from 3. I want to see how many threes Brunson had versus them. Took his 3-point prop in that matchup too. He had 4. He took 11 threes. Season high. He's normally taking like 5 to 7. I'm telling you, man. There's directly intertwined. The amount, the 3-point attempts go up as the 3-point made goes up, right? Because if the threes are falling, they're gonna keep chucking. And yeah, highest 3-point attempts allowed and made. But yeah, let's look at Ivy real quick. So his points just keep going up, right? Because he's been at 17.5 for a while. Now he's at 18.5 in this matchup. But his threes, man, he's been steady. He's shooting really efficient this year. So he's averaging 2.1 on the season. Yeah, I mean, Ivy or Cade should get it done today. I mean, there's no Duren. Not that he was active offensively anyway, but that means we're gonna get Beef Stewart, who can be a stretch big. He even likes to shoot threes back in the day when he was healthy. They got him at 0.5 if you want to degen it plus 110.
Oh,
He's had to take one this season, but this would be the game to do it. He doesn't want to bang around down there with Capella. Hardaway's 3-point prop, 2.5. That's appropriate. You can alt him to 1.5 though. Wouldn't mind that. I mean, that's all he's out there doing, right? 65% of his points are from the 3-ball. And yeah, I don't trust Tobias for his 3-point shooting. So yeah, I mean, Cade, man, the PRA is it's so high at 39.5, but it's right. I mean, it's right there in the line, and you couldn't ask for a better matchup for him. I mean, but just with that line, you can't have anything go wrong in the game. You can't have foul trouble. You can't have it be a blowout or anything like that. But it's a 1-point spread. Too bad defenses going out of here. So yeah, might just mix up Cade and Ivy here in different parlays, and even just single bet like Ivy's 3-point prop. Might even alter to 0.5 for a parlay filler. But yeah, Cade, love him in this spot for sure. But yeah, his scoring has gone down, right? Start off the season shooting a lot more, and then yeah, the volume's just gone down. He was shooting like over 20 field goal attempts to start the season. Now he's been hovering around 15 to 17. I noticed he's been really active in the first half and first quarter lately, but some games he just doesn't. He breaks everything and doesn't score at all. I like that game against Pacers, but I mean, he went off in the first quarter against the Hornets, and then he just like died off after that. He's only finished with 20 points. I mean, I think he had 12 points in the first quarter, and then only scored 8 the rest of the game. So, but yeah, I mean, no Duren, should be rebounds to go around. So, I mean, Cade is already rebounding at a really high clip. Should have even more rebound chances here. I mean, look at this. I mean, he's had over 10 rebounds last 2 games. Rebound chances are insane for a point guard, man. 15, 16, 15, 17 this last 2. I don't see that changing, especially with Duren out. Stewie's not really known for his rebounding. So, yeah, I mean, if you like his assists, we know his rebounds going to go up, and the scoring should be there. PRA or fantasy makes sense, but it's just a high line. On the Atlanta side, we saw an unbelievable game by the rookie, Zachariah here. 6 to 10 from 3, 33 points. He had over 60 fantasy points.
Wow. He said, "Fuck you,
Prior to
Edie.
that-
I'm rookie of the year."
Huh?
He said, "Fuck you, Edie. I'm rookie of the year."
Right? I mean, he's getting the chance. I mean, he's getting the minutes. He's getting like 30 plus minutes now with all his guys out. But prior to that, he was shooting awful from 3, right? He was 1 of 6, 1 of 5, 1 of 6, 2 of 7, 1 of 4, 0 of 2. I mean, so it was definitely an outlier game. Does he come back down to earth against the Pistons? Maybe he just goes back down to his average. But his lines are still too low at 13.5 to consider under against the Pistons. I would say if you wanted the rule of like a breakout huge game coming off of that, but the lines are still too low in my opinion. But I don't expect him to shoot that well from 3 again, because we just looked at his data, right? So Trae Young, what is it? He should have a good assist spot here. I'm surprised that it's minus 134 in the under 10.5 on the 10.5 for the under. I mean, he just had 21 potentials last game against the Knicks, but only 10 assists. They just didn't convert. But the Knicks are a tough matchup right now on defense across most of the positions, especially on the wings. Yeah, I mean, I could see this being a high assist game for him. He had 15 assists last time he played the Pistons.
Lemonade wants to know, do you like his threes? 2.5 threes to parlay. It's minus 165, but he said maybe something to parlay with it. And he also said, then Mike said, do you like the Hawks money line?
Ooh, that's tough. I kind of like the way the Pistons are playing right now, man. I will say Duren being out, I want to see how Stewie does. I mean, they also have Paul Reed too, so he's a formidable like backup we've seen when he was on the Sixers. So I think he'll be okay in the front court. I don't know, man. It's almost like a pick 'em because it's minus 1 point spread. But I like the chemistry right now with these with the Pistons backcourt. So, but Jalen Johnson's playing really well. And I'm gonna go Pistons. Trey will just have to have a huge, massive game. But yeah, the threes can definitely see it, man, for sure. I mean, Trey's gonna shoot them. I would say probably my favorite Trey prop is his free throws. Detroit continues to be top 2 in fouls. Let's just quickly look at how many free throws he's had against them over the last year. And I noticed PrizePicks now does free throws as well, as Underdog. Oh, yeah, look at these. He's had a monster game. He had a monster game last year. He only played him once last year. Interesting. He went 11 of 12 from the free throw line, 4 of 11 from 3. I think you probably can't go wrong with either the 3-point prop or the free throw made. And then I would consider the assists. I think it's a good matchup for it. It's just he just doesn't have the most ideal guys to pass to, but I think Clint could have maybe easier time on Stewie. So a lot of Trey's assists high conversion rate comes from lobs and dump downs to Clint. I've marked 7 free throw made. What is it at? It's only 6.5, guys.
Free throws.
Come on.
Last
year he was at 7 or 7.5. So
every time you've been liking free throws, they've been hitting so far.
Yeah, man, just keep attacking the teams that we know.
Pacers.
Right now it's Charlotte, Pacers, Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll find some other ones, but yeah, that's favorable. Speaking of that, I think Matherin's interesting here. I just want to quickly go back to his free throw prop, because Hornets have been fouling at a high clip with all these young guys having to play big minutes.
AOD's wondering. Sorry,
5.
AOD's wondering about Hawks team total under also.
Under?
Over.
What's team total at?
That's a good question.
113 or 114? It's probably 113, right?
Yeah.
I don't mind it. All right. I mean, honestly, I don't even mind the over the game total. So either one. Yeah, Trae Young. Let's put 6.5 free throw. We'll put the 2.5 3. There's some juice on that. And then let's put his 10.5 assists, man. I think you might feel better about alting it to 9.5. So that's probably what I'll do. Yeah. And I put on here Cade's fantasy and his 3-point made, and then Ivy's 3-point made. Okay. Let me put Matherin on here. His free throws. I checked. Yeah, against his position, the Hornets are giving up the 5th most free throw attempts to his position. So, let me go back and add that to our notes. Matherin, when he started his rookie year, he lived at the free throw line. Just depends on how many 3-point attempts he takes. Let's alt that to 7.5. Okay. Anything else in the game, guys? Probably spent the most time on that one because I think it's the most interesting for overs. Suns at Mavs. This is going to be a really good real life basketball game to watch. It's definitely a playoff preview. These teams could definitely see each other. Depending how seeding works out, they could definitely see each other in the playoffs. Both teams are playing really well. Both teams are playing actually really solid defense. Although PJ Washington is out, and we talked about that, how it affects the Mavs. But yeah, I mean, Suns are 7-1. They're looking really good. KD is playing lights out. And the Mavs are 5-3. They just can't stay healthy right now. But they are at home. Total's gone up since last night at 230, so it's a 232.5. 232 flat. I don't know. I mean, both teams' defenses are not bad. But yeah, if PJ was playing, he would definitely have been on KD. So now they're going to have to throw out Najee, and Clay will have to do some help defense on KD. So KD, it's a much easier path and matchup now for KD with PJ out. Because like I said, they always put PJ on the best scoring option, especially like a lengthy score like KD. So they're going to take a hit. Nurk has been playing really well. He is a pretty easy matchup against the front court now with Lively and PJ out too. But does Nurk keep this up, man? I mean, against Bam, and Bam is not the same anymore. You can attack him with bigs. But Nurk had 14 points and 12 rebounds at halftime when I checked against Bam. But yeah, his lines have skyrocketed because of the last 2 games. But we know Nurk, he can either get in foul trouble or he can just get run off the court, and he just ends up not playing in the third or fourth. The Suns do not hesitate to bench him in the second half if another team decides to go small, or if the Suns are trailing in the game. What they'll do is Nurk will lose out on minutes, and they'll put in more scoring options and go smaller and run KD at the 5. And they could easily do that in this matchup because the Mavs could also run small when they don't run Gafford out there. So both teams in the second half, depending on who's winning and what the score is, both teams could definitely go small here a lot. So if you like Nurk, I would maybe consider first half, because we know that the playing field's even. They're going to go out with their set offensive plans. So if you like the matchup for Nurk, I would do the first half. But yeah, man, he had 20 points on Bam. Albeit he did hit 3 threes, so keep that in mind. And then he had 18 rebounds. He is rebounding like crazy here, guys. I mean, over 20 rebound chances. That's the Nurk we're used to seeing. Prior to that, his minutes were down, and he was like averaging 15, 18. So his rebounds have really gone up. But yeah, that's insane. 18 rebounds, 20 points against. He almost had a 20-20 against Bam. But yeah, I mean, KD, I think, has the best matchup here with PJ being out. And we know the history between Luka and D-Book. So they'll be going at it, but D-Book tends to crumble versus Luka. So, but he did have 2 good games during the regular season at least, but not in the playoffs versus Luka. But yeah, Beal was out for this game. Yeah, I would side on the KD side if you want anything from this game, but I'm probably going to stay away, guys. I just want to watch it for the basketball. And, you know, Clay and D-Book have history, too. D-Book called him washed in that one game, and then Clay ended up getting ejected for talking shit back to him when Clay was on the Warriors. He was last year or 2 years ago. So they have some history. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a good game to watch, but maybe not the best for prop betting because it's going to be playoff-like and solid defense. But if I had to choose, I would say KD's scoring upside here. All right, but let me know if you have anything else on that. Probably all at this point.
Lemonade says Nurk rebounds 10.5.
We looked at the chart. He's getting it done, man. He's getting it done. Sound like Gafford's a good rebounder. The only thing with the Mavs is they kind of do like a team rebounding with like their guards, like Luka and others, and Kyrie at times. So let's look at real quick. How many rebounds are the Mavs giving up to centers? season. They're average so far, the centers. So, but that was with PJ. A lot of that data is with PJ and Lively playing. So, don't hate it. You just got to worry about, again, his minutes in the second half if both teams go small. So maybe if you can find first half rebounds, I wouldn't mind that. Or maybe in first quarter rebounds. First quarter rebounds would be cool. I mean, I would take it at 1.5. I'm sure we can quickly look at that on Flip here. Oh, and I got some UFC pick core plays for us again.
Yeah, what you got?
I'll do it at the end real quick. Let's just quickly look at this. Where are you? Nurk. Okay. Let's go down to first quarter rebounds. They have them all the way to 3.5. It's funny. Oh, they're not even offering the 2.5. That sucks because most centers are for first quarter are 2.5, but he's just rebounding at such a high clip. I mean, so maybe the 1.5 as a parlay filler, but it's not the best odds at -600. I like as parlay fillers to keep it around -400 or less, and that's pretty high. But maybe if he just alt his rebounds. Again, I just worry about the minutes, man. So even 7.5, it's minus almost 600 too. So if you're gonna play it, I would just take the straight up 10.5. There's no reason to alt it. That value. Okay. Next, Nets and Celtics. I'm staying away. Sticking to my guns on a massive slate. When I don't have to play the Celtics or Celtics games, I'm not going to. I will say that Claxton's back starting now. Simmons is playing, but will play off the bench. Clax should play about 26 minutes. We can just quickly see what his fantasy line is, but I'm not touching him in. He's not even on here. So yeah, I'm good on that. And yeah, I think Jaylen Brown remains out, and we're going to see the same lineup, same thing from the Celtics here. Nets defense actually has not been bad, but maybe it's a function of who they played so far. But yeah, their defense is. I think their pick and roll defense has actually been pretty solid. We can just quickly check that. Yeah, they're number 2 in pick and roll defense, right behind OKC. So. Can always consider Drew unders, man, but he just keeps going down. He's at 17.5, 15.5. Now he's all the way down at 13.5. He's just not shooting, man. He's just been playmaking, but that can switch anytime. So I'm good on that game. It's a 13.5 point spread too, and it hasn't changed, I imagine. Nope. Good, but shout out if you want to look at something. Warriors at Cavs. Can't call anything for the Warriors because Draymond is questionable. Pods is questionable. Melton might make his return. He's been out with injury. If he returns and Dre and Pods end up playing, then Steve Kerr's going to go back to his 12-man rotation, which makes things even nastier for Warriors. So, again, stick to my guns. I'm not touching Warriors props. They're not good for DFS or prop betting right now. And they're going against a team that's humming on defense right now and playing well in the Cavs. So I'm good. I'm good on the Warriors, but I will say the Warriors defense is playing really solid, especially on the perimeter. They are blitzing and attacking the main scorer ball handler right away when they cross the half court. So I'm kind of interested in Garland or Mitchell's assists here. What's interesting is like Mitchell is plus money for over 4.5. So I would play it in the books if you're interested in this, but is plus 126 on FanDuel. He was getting it done early in the season, and then Garland's kind of been taking over. but the potentials are there. I mean, he's having like 9, 11 potentials. They're just not converting on his passes. Minus this Magic game, they only played 22 minutes. It's a blowout, but I just think I think they're gonna blitz and trap him. They did the same to Jalen Green and to Van Vliet. Let's actually watch this. So you see, and the Warriors are really good at switching right now, but they're coming out like they're bringing Looney and they have Wiggs out there on Jalen Green, and then he passes it off to an open shooter on the perimeter. So it's just a matter of when Donovan gets trapped and he passes it off, does his teammates make the shot or not? So the potential should be there. I think they should go up in this game. Last year, let's see, head to head, he had 7 and 5, and Garland played in both those games. I think the RA is live too. He had 9-12 RA versus them. But there's heavy juice on the over 7.5 at minus 142. So maybe we can find a better price somewhere else than FanDuel, but it's just kind of my game theory and game script from watching all the Warriors games and how they treat the primary scorer, especially like a 2-guard like Donovan. They blitz Jalen Green, who's very similar style as Donovan offensively, so I expect the same today. Okay, some books have him even at 8.5. Yeah. So there's juice on it, man. The rebounding should be there from all the 3 balls from the Warriors, so it makes sense to do the RA. I'm going to put the RA. I'm sure it's at 8 flat on PrizePicks. And then I'm going to put the 4.5 assists at that plus money value. I mean, it's worth like a low unit, half unit, quarter unit, like just single entry for that plus money value. But yeah, this is a tough matchup for him and Garland. They've been playing really well. I would say, maybe consider. I wish Garland's points were a little bit higher. And maybe consider the under here, because look at the Warriors. The Warriors are number 3 in pick and roll defense, so they're right behind the Nets and the Thunder, and they're number 1 in transition defense, and that's the 2 ways that Garland has been scoring. But if Garland's hitting his threes, then that 17.5 is going to be sweaty. You would want to consider the under. I might consider it just based on the matchup and on paper, and just hope like Donovan does this thing. But it just depends on if the Warriors decide they want to isolate and cut off Donovan from scoring, then Garland could have more open shots. I think the Warriors are just going to sell out to stop both of them, and it's going to leave Mobley open. It's going to leave Okoro open. They're probably just going to give Okoro the Draymond treatment and leave him wide open shots. So, yeah. I think it just depends on which under you take, if it's Donovan or Garland, if you want to take the under here. Okay, next game. I'm going to put on here Garland or Donovan under points. Bucks at Knicks. Everyone's healthy and good to go. Brunson should have an easy time scoring here against the Bucks, but his usage has been weird and down because Cat has just been taking over. Yeah, look at that. 25% usage rate while Cat had 32 last game. I'm sure it's going to flip-flop back and forth between the two based on matchups. Cat's probably going to have... Cat has the harder matchup here, whereas Brunson, being the guard against Bucks, has the easier matchup, but it just makes me nervous how active Cat is. They could easily split the usage too, like it did against the Rockets. I'm gonna keep staying away from the Knicks unless one of those guys are out. But I might consider, because Brunson's been playing the entire first quarter, I might consider his first quarter props. Because he's He's playing anywhere 11 to 12 minutes. Last night I got a pretty good value at 4.5 points, but let's see what it's at now. And that's about it I got for that game, man. Okay, it went up. It was minus 400 last night. Now it's minus 490. 4.5 points. Pretty sure he's gotten that done in pretty much every game this season. And very, very easy matchup here, playing almost the entire quarter lately. Okay, so you didn't get it in 2 of the games. Cavs and Mavs. So it's right there in the line. Yeah, let me know if you guys have anything else on this. I mean, with both teams fully healthy, I'm good, man. Dane's got a pretty tough matchup here. Knicks have been improving as they play more together. They're on defensively, which makes sense having OG and Bridges. So, Giannis has been just absolutely murdering the glass this year. Last 2 years, he kind of took a step back on it. But this year, I mean, lately, 22 rebound chances, 26. Yeah, I mean, last 2 games, he's been getting it done, trying to carry the team because they're losing. Okay. Next interesting game. Rockets at Thunder. This is where our unders can come from here. Rockets, what do? The most predictable offense in the league. Now every team runs the pick and roll, but they run it methodically to the T every time. So predictable. And Van Vliet leads the way with Sengun running the pick and roll. Jalen Green will run the pick and roll too, Sengun, and he's ball handling. So what are the Thunder the best at? Pick and roll defense. They're switching, and the reason is because when they have a defender that switches, each defender they have is like a solid defender. So when they get a switch from the pick and roll, you're switching to just an even better defender. Most of the time with the pick and roll, you're just trying to switch on to the weakest defender and get the guy on you that you want as a point guard or a scorer, ball handler. But OKC, you're just going to switch on to someone just as good, right? So, you know, if it's SGA's on you and you screen them, you're going to get Case and Wallace or Dort switching on you and vice versa. So they just, I mean, amazing defense. I mean, like, let's look at this here. Typical pick and roll with the Nuggets here. Dort recovers easily, blocks Jamal, right? I mean, it's just, Dort's just such a good defender. Chet has the length to cover and make up space. So there's going to be unders to be had in this game for sure. Sengun has good history against OKC, and I think they're going to have to go through Sengun. Because, yeah, again, Jalen Green and Van Vliet are going to have the hardest time. Jalen Green's going to see a lot of Dort. Fred's going to see a lot of SGA and Keaston Wallace and Caruso. I'm going to go under on Fred. If he burns me from the 3-ball, because that's what he's going to do, so be it. I like my odds. Look at that, number 1. 50% of Fred's points come from pick and roll against OKC is number 1. And the OKC is number 1 against perimeter 3-point shooting against point guards. So if he makes his threes and gets lucky, I'll live with it, guys. I'll live with it. But I'm going to stick to this. Last year, he went over this once against OKC, and he dropped 20 points. And he shot 10 threes, which is crazy high for him. So, yeah. And then I had Jalen Green as an alternate to him in case they shut Green down and Fred has to pick up the slack, but they bumped him from 20.5 to 19.5. So I had marked down at 20.5. I got it at 20.5 last night. So probably just stick with Fred still at 14.5. And then I'm not going to mess with Sneakin because, like I said, they're going to have to go through him. I never played Jabari But his history, and I think it's just because the guard struggles so much in this matchup, his history is really good against OKC. So he's had 16, 18, 20 points. In his PR, he's crushed it. Because, OKC does give up rebounds, and Jabari can't have spike rebound games here. Sengun was out for this game, but everyone else was in for the other games. And he had 31, 37, 24 PR. I think it bumped. Last night it was at 17.5, and now it's at 18.5 because his points bumped as well. But with him, he's just got to make the 3-ball or get offensive rebound putbacks. But he can do that here because OKC is 28th in putback defense. So, and OKC does give it up to the wing, the 3-point shooters on the wing, and that's where Jabari will shoot some of his threes. And then, like I said, Sengun, he's had great history, but I'm not touching the front court of the Rockets. It's too volatile. But if we look at the history, he's gone over his points all 3 matchups, and he's crushed the PRA. Easton, I'm really interested in this matchup, but wow, they have him at 14.5 points. I thought we'd get softer lines here. That's insane. Or maybe it's just because his book is the only one that has his points, his lines. I would look out for his PR though, because majority of his points come from putbacks. Yeah. So let's look out for his PR. And I already have that listed here. Wow, Jabari was at 16.5 last night when I wrote notes down. So it's hard trusting Jabari though, man. His usage is so low. But it's the right, schematically it's the right matchup for him because he's gonna have a lot of open shots. Wizards at Grizzlies. This is another interesting one here that I'll spend a little time on. Ja is out, so we should get Scottie Pippen, who I really like, starting. Do we have props for him yet? Let's see. Are they going to wait for confirmation on starting lineup first? The thing with Scottie is like his playmaking is phenomenal. And I would see props for him. So I would consider assists or PRA. Oh, here we go. Oh, I was hoping for 6.5, but 7.5 is right. That's the right line. Wow, his PRA is 27.5. What do you guys think? Too high? I would maybe consider the PA. Or do we have fantasy lines for him? I doubt it. PrizePicks isn't even offering him. Is he on Underdog?
They just dropped a tackle play that's a murder. I have to get it in. But which player?
You're good.
I'll look on Underdog.
Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
PrizePicks doesn't have it. I would say just PRA or PA. This is 7.5. I mean, man, he could definitely do it. I don't know. I like a lot of his props, man.
Points.
I just like
15.5. Assists 7.5. His fantasy is not here.
Okay.
PA 22.5.
Yeah. Probably do the PA. Great spot for him here. Wizards are giving up 8th most fantasy to point guards on the season. Santi should have a great rebounding game here. He's been rebounding a lot. And look at that. Washington's giving up the most rebounds to the power forward position. Because Santi and Triple J are kind of like interchangeable at the small forward, at the 3 and the 4 spot. But a lot of times Santi's playing in the low block and getting the rebounds. Let's just quickly look at what's his rebound prop. Is it crazy? 7.5? All right, I was expecting 8.5. I mean, look at 16 rebound, 12 or 16 rebound chances, 12 rebound, 11, 16. It's these games when he gets 16 rebound chances. 25 rebound chances against the Bulls. And this is Ja was out that game. Ja was out, so that's key, right? Ja was out, and he had 25 rebound chances and 13 rebounds against the Bulls. I like it, guys. I really don't like rebounds straight up, but maybe even just the RA. Yeah, I don't mind the RA. So we'll put that down. .5 RA, 7.5 rebound. And then Jaren's gonna chuck so much. He's got a little bit tough matchup against the length of Sar. Sar is definitely a solid shot blocker. He's not good offensively, but he can hold it down defensively. Kind of matches up well with Triple J actually, because he has athleticism, speed at his size, true 7-footer, and wingspan to cover Triple J. So, but Triple J is gonna have crazy volume. I would say look out for his field goal attempted. There's no way to give that to us. I don't think we have any Memphis props yet, but look out for that. I expect him to take more than 20 shots here. Yeah, and then on the Wizards side, I mean, Bilal just he's balling. Great matchup for him at his position. The Grizzlies are giving up second most fantasy. They're giving up, like, I think the second most threes behind the Hawks, and Bilal is shooting 44% from three this season so far. So maybe you can consider a 3-point prop, or if you want, you just consider fantasy or points here. Yeah, 2 of 2 from 3, 3 of 5 from 3, and then 4 of 9 of 3. He has some spike 3-point shooting in the right matchup, but I mean he's getting done with the scoring too, man. But it's directly tied to his 3-point shooting. Is the threes at 1.5? It's not bad. I don't mind. I don't really want to get too crazy with threes today, but it's a low line. Just need the volume to go up here. And Memphis, they're running at a fast pace still, so yeah, should get more shot attempts up. But let's see, what do they have do we have his fantasy yet? I haven't projected for 30. Oh, you can play the 3-point prop too on PrizePicks. No fantasy. That sucks. Yeah. I mean, he's getting done with the rebounding too. So if you want to do the PR, it's pretty high. Yeah, I would wait for the fantasy on him. And then Poole, I mean, he's a good 3-point shooter at time when he's on fire, obviously. But do we want to really trust him here? Yeah, they have him for below at -160 for over 1.5 stocks too. So I would wait for the fantasy if you want to play him on PrizePicks Underdog. Great matchup. Again, bottom 2 in 3-point defense, spot up 3-point defense at Memphis. But yeah, good spot for Poole too. Yeah, see, Memphis bottom 2 in 3-point against guards. 2.5. Yes, he's at 2.5 threes. Heavy juice on the over. I mean, you consider his points here for sure. If you don't want Bilal, I would say either Bilal or Poole here. I don't want to mess with Sar or J-Ball. I think Bagley might come back today too. So, yep, that's it. I mean, it should be a good one. You could game stack this for sure. It should be pretty popular in the DFS world. All right, Heat Nuggets. I am fading. Jokic has terrible history against Bam, but Bam is getting cooked right now by Biggs, and Jokic is having to carry the whole team on his back. We don't know the status of Jamal Murray. He might make his return from the concussion protocol. We don't know. So wait and see on that. And I'm gonna keep staying away from the Heat here. Blazers at T-Wolves, another stay away game. Both teams on a back-to-back. T-Wolves at home, -12 favored. I would say anything. I was thinking about some unders here, being a back-to-back and the huge spread. The Blazers just keep turning the ball over like crazy, making dumb mistakes with all the young guys. So I might consider some unders. I know it's gonna be scary because thinking it's the Blazers, but maybe it's unders PRA. It's coming off a big game last night. Played more minutes probably than they expected. So yeah, I mean Gobert has pretty good history against Ayton, and Gobert got it done like we thought last night. But yeah, big man Gobert on a back-to-back. All right, 2 games left, and we got about 10 minutes. So Sixers at Lakers. We got news that Rui is probable. So that's good. He's back. He missed last game, so no more Cam Reddish. And the big thing on the Sixers, Maxi's out for extended time with the hamstring, right? So we're going to get a mixture of McCain and Lowry running point guard. Maybe we see a little bit of he looked good, Ricky Council. Anytime he plays, that guy can score, man. He's a bucket, but he's not really a ball handling point guard, so we might just pick up some more minutes in the backcourt. Drummond, what they did last time against the Clippers, they were pretty much matching all of Zubac's minutes with Drummond. And then when Zubac was out, they put KJ Martin in, a smaller forward, in at center for Drummond. So I think Drummond is going to match AD's minutes. Probably gets in foul trouble against AD. What are Drummond's lines? I don't want to take the under here against. Yeah, because he's gonna play more minutes than normal, unless the game blows out. Oh, one thing I want to look at real quick. Sorry, and that team was gonna. Do we have an offensive rebound for? Of course not. For Gobert, the Blazers just been bleeding offensive rebounds. By the way, take note of that. I noticed it last night. Yeah, AD should have no problem against Drummond here, but his lines are going to be pretty high, and you just got to worry about blowout. Like, do we think Paul George can carry this Sixers team by himself? 3rd game back, and they kind of were still holding him back on his minutes. He wasn't getting full runs. They kept taking him, subbing him out, and bringing him back in like short stints. So Lakers fully healthy, everyone's back and at home. Redick taking some heat from the media. I wouldn't be surprised they get it done, handle them pretty easily here. So I'm scared of full game props. But let me know if you got anything. But yeah, great matchup for AD for sure. I might take his first quarter points. I always like taking AD's first quarter points because he plays pretty much the entire quarter. So let's just quickly do that. I think you can get it at 4.5. Last time it was at -400 as a parlay filler. Were you saying something?
No, I was. They were joking in the chat. AOD said we need a pause button. I said I got one. Want to hear it?
Pause.
See,
What did I say?
I don't even know. I just looked down and he was laughing at you.
All right. Yeah, it's still -400 for 4.5 points. And he's gotten that easily, man. He's gotten it all day, every day. AD. Again, he pretty much plays 11 to 12 minutes the entire first quarter, shooting high percentage shots. Yep, 9, 9, 6, 16, 9, 7, 6. So he's cleared it in every single game so far. I mean, you could even consider the 7.5 points at -125, but or even the 5.5. I mean, he's gotten at least 6, right? If you want a little less juice, but yep, that's all I got, man, for that one so far. Unless something wrong one. Unless something opens up. Clippers at Kings. Man, what I don't get is like the Kings are not allowing fantasy point pretty much to every position. Look at this, like least fantasy point to point guard, bottom 5, and then to the shooting guard and small forward. Only position they're giving up is the power forward at the 4. Not giving up really to the center. But they still give out like real life points to a lot of these positions, but it's just the fantasy they're not giving up. Harden is I don't know, he's starting to look worn out, man. It's also Friday, so who knows what he did last night. But I'm just gonna stay away from. I mean, he's just shooting bad from 3 right now, but he could easily pick that back up tonight. Keegan Murray had a fake game for the Kings last game. Sometimes he just goes full try hard. Herter is annoying at times. He eats up shot volume, takes away from Fox. And then, DeRozan and Sabonis have dominated usage. Fox has been kind of taking a back seat at times to both DeRozan and Sabonis. So, Sabonis should have a pretty easy time here against Zubac. He's giving up the 5th most fantasy right now to center. But, I don't know. In my opinion, it's a pretty mediocre matchup. Points versus... Last 2 games, Sabonis had 61 fantasy against Zubac. So let's just make sure if there was anyone, Fox or anyone was out for that game. It's pretty crazy, man. Nope, everyone was in. So yeah, you can obviously get it done. He's back to playmaking again. At least, he had 12 and 9 assists those games. At least lately, last 3 games, right? He's just getting a high conversion on it because the guys are making the threes, like Herter and Keegan. But his RA is up there, man. 19.5. I don't know. Seems like a mediocre spot to me, but on paper, it should work. But yeah, I got to stay away from the Kings right now where they're fully healthy. Like I said, Fox and DeRozan, they switch off a lot, and they're eating into each other's usage, production. And how long is DeRozan going to keep this up, scoring-wise? Like, Fox could have a monster game at any time. And if Fox has a monster game, then DeRozan's going to take a back seat. All right. Norman Powell's playing really well, though. He's shooting really, really efficient. His shot volume is insane, so I wouldn't fault you for taking that. Maybe look out for his field goal attempt. And, of course, we don't have it. But that's the one you want on that team. Okay. I think that's it, guys. Let's do our virtual Friday UFC.
Yeah, what you got?
So this is Vegas 100. This is the 100th Vegas UFC fight night.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit better than normal, I think, in terms of quality. But there's a lot of chalk. A lot of lopsided matches. So you're going to have to eat the chalk, so we're going to have to stack a little bit more than we like. I usually like to keep it at like a 3-leg, probably the most for core confident plays. But we might have to take it out to 4 or 5 here. Gomez and Sopaj, I like the most as core plays, but those 2 by themselves, the value is terrible. It's like minus 180.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to add, I think... I traditionally don't play female fighters, but Gomez and Robertson are in phenomenal spots. And Robertson should dominate, especially with the wrestling here. So you throw in if you don't want to do a female fight, I don't blame you. You can take her out, and then you can run Abdul Malik and Blackshear, and still have plus money. But if you want to degen it and I have all 5 here, you'll get a plus 197. But yeah, if you want to take out Robertson. You're looking at plus 143. If you want to take out Gomez, because the value is just gone, she just keeps going up. She was like a minus 500, then went to minus 600, and now she keeps going up to minus 670. She's like the next rising female star, so that's why I think. But if you want no female card, you can still get plus 111 with these three guys: Blackshear, Abdul, and Sopaj. But those are kind of the options. Out of those 5, probably mix and match. And I'll probably do all 5 of them together too. But I'll probably use Sopaj as like a parlay filler, and mix them with some NBA plays that I like, alt lines. Because at minus 365, that's not bad for if you need to boost a couple of parlays plays and to get some plus money. But yeah, gonna further break stuff down. But if you guys have nothing else, hope you guys have a good weekend. And I'll update the sheets and drop some plays in the Discord. But yeah, if you're not part of Discord, definitely join us. Join via the Patreon, and yeah, it's super cheap. It's like $1 a day, less than $1 a day, right? So
Heck yeah, and we've been winning every day almost.
Sports.
I think every
All
day.
sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well, appreciate you. Got through the 13 games and some UFC, so that's what's up.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I'll see you in the Discord, sir. Okay. All right,
All right,
J. Cole. He said, appreciate y'all. AOD. Later, man. All you guys. We'll see you in the Discord.
Peace out, guys.
Lace.